We're joined today by Timothy McNally, Chairman of NagaCorp. Thank you for being with us.
Thank you, Kelsey. It's my privilege to join you today.
Well, you've had a very interesting year going through 2023. It was definitely a recovery from 2022. We saw that GGR was up 15.5%, net profit up 65.7%, EBITDA up 20%. Did that fall within the company's expectations?
Yes, let me just start out by saying, I've been involved with the company since 2005, so I've seen a lot of history unfold, including the once-in-a-lifetime event, or hopefully once-in-a-lifetime event, or every 100 years COVID. So yes, we're still very much in a gradual recovery phase. Specifically regarding the 2023 results, when we looked at the figures across the board, GGR better than $500,000, up 15.5. EBITDA, we probably fell a little short of expectations. We were looking in, slightly over 300. We ended up 295, a pretty good number, and that was up 20-some%. Even on when we look at almost every business segment, whether it was mass market, the premium, the VIP, all up from last year. Foot traffic, our administrative costs and operating expenses decreased in 2023 at $134 million. So it was very much a positive in terms of business recovery, but I emphasize that word gradual. And I go back to, we had a banner year 2018-19. Certainly knowing the Naga story, it's been quite a story. And I think really the best days of Naga lie ahead. But we're going to go through this recovery like everybody else. The severity of the disruption, shutting down business for the period of time. There is a startup phase, both in terms of getting your business operations back in place, but most importantly, getting people here to the property. And that's been what we've seen in terms of a graduated process over the last 2 years. And as you recall, it seems like longer than it's been, but it was only February last year. China reopened. Hong Kong lifted, obviously, a lot of their restrictions. So it's only been about the last 18 to 20 some months that people have really been picking up traveling again.
Now, speaking exactly of that, the Chinese contribution has always been strong. Premium VIP and referral VIP continue to be strong contributors to the bottom line. Where are the majority of these high rollers coming from? We know that China hasn't exactly liberated their travel so much, even within the past year, even though they were expected to. Where are the majority of these high rollers coming from, which are contributing to that premium mass and direct VIP?
Yeah, really, when we talk about the premium mass and the VIP, the premium is primarily coming from the local market here in Phnom Penh. And when I talk about, if you look at our overall performance, it's clearly mass market that's leading the way. VIP referral, people are coming from Singapore, Thailand, and Malaysia, primarily, some Vietnamese. But at the end of the day, yes, there was a real serious decline, obviously from Macau, post-COVID, related to COVID and obviously regulatory and legal matters and changes dealing with junkets. At the end of the day, again, on a macro picture, if you look where we are, very, very strong performance. We're better than 80-some% back, 84-85% back on the mass market. That's due to the health of the local market. We still have a lot of business visitors. The expatriate community has been growing. If you went back to 2006 at the time of the company's listing, Phnom Penh was a city of 1.3 million. Today it's 2.3 million. 10 years out, the projections are we'll be at 3.3 million. With a monopoly license till 2045, we're going to be the beneficiary of a growing and a sustainable mass market. The VIP business The premium mass is coming from this local market. Really, if you look at the impact of tourism, it's been minimal so far. When I say that, in 2023, there was 5.5 million people, international arrivals, but the great bulk of those were cross-border from Thailand and Vietnam. So really not impactful on the bottom line, particularly when you compare it to 2019 or 18, where we had 6.6 million tourists, but 2.4 of those were coming from China. And, that is yet to come. And the reason is obviously ramping up in terms of airlines. I think when you look at 2021, there was only 54 flights weekly coming in from China. Now we've gone up considerably. I think the exact number of flights coming in now are, as of February, is 507 flights weekly and 108 from China. So this has been a very gradual process. Like I meant, you went from 894 flights a week going back to 2019. By the end of 2020, we were at 36 flights weekly coming into Cambodia because of COVID, followed by 52. So that's what I'm trying to express in terms of the magnitude of an impact and disruption, not just felt by Naga, but every place else. Tourism is something that is just going to add to what I would say is a very healthy recovery. The impact of tourism, I think, will grow that mass market contribution, but also, again, on the premium play, it'll also make a good contribution. VIP, we've seen growth in that area, but as I mentioned, that's primarily coming from traditional groups we've had out of Malaysia, new groups from Singapore, and additional groups from Thailand and Vietnam. But going forward, if I had to look at the long-term health of the NagaCorp, it's going to come from that continued growth of the mass market. And obviously, the margins are significantly better. So I think our overall financial health is there. I know a question that always lingers is, another key financial noteworthy commentary would be our cash reserves went from 175 million at the end of 22 all the way up to 367 million by the end of 23. The question is, we have a bond payment due in July, 472 million. Just recently, our results were announced in Hong Kong. The CEO, Fan Chen, very clearly, concisely indicated we're going to pay off that debt when it's due. No refinancing involved. So that will take again, in terms of financial health of the company, that also will be a very positive thing that we have off our checklist of things to do, and that'll allow us to move forward. We'll have a little bit tightness after we make that payment, but if we continue to generate the type of revenue and plus what our expectations and projections, we'll be on solid ground.
I want to tie that into Naga 3 because during the press conference as well, when they were talking about the results recently, there was the tie-in between the investment within Naga 3 and the ability to pay off the bond. So I know that Naga 3 is trying to, in the investment in Naga 3, you're trying to cut down capex as much as you can to be able to make sure that there's stability within the company going forward and not overextend yourselves, obviously. Previously, it'd been talked about as being something like a $3.5 billion project. Has that changed?
Yeah, if you go back to the original announcements, which were in 2019, and obviously those numbers and that environment and conditions on the ground all dictated the plans at that time. Now, essentially, the financial arrangement is still there. The original, call it pledge or commitment, was $3.5 billion. Half was going to be put up by the company, half by with the founder, Dr. Chen, and now his trust, 50-50 financing. That remains intact. However, if you recall, in 2021, 21 or early 22, we announced that we were going to move that date out from 2027 or 26 all the way out to 2029. That was a result of that major disruption I keep referring to called COVID. Fan Chen, I think, explained it well in some of the briefing we had with analysts that we're going to do a very significant evaluation. That's already begun in terms of resizing, reloading the design and data. It wouldn't make much sense if we added the 3,500 additional hotel rooms to the 1,700. That put us well over 5,000 hotel rooms. And we're certainly, like anybody else, we want to see those rooms occupied. So the resizing, the reevaluation will cause some adjustments and amendments. As you're probably aware now, we've spent about 650, 700 million capitalization so far, dealing with the piling, foundation work, the basement work. That's all going to be completed by the first quarter of 2024, right now, another month or so. Then we're going to go ahead and proceed with the podium or the entertainment complex. Most of that, 90 some percent, as we originally announced, will be non-gaming. We want to make Naga 3 clearly a tourism asset for the country.
As a part of that, I mean, obviously the non-gaming aspect, you want to make sure that you're the beacon on the horizon, and that's something that you were trying to literally do within the hotel tower. So one of the hotel towers was expected to be around 70 stories tall, being the tallest building, I think, in Cambodia, if I'm not incorrect. Has there been any modification to the plans for the physical size of the development of Naga 3?
That'll be forthcoming. I don't have anything specific to share at this point. That's part of this review and evaluation that's going on. You want to call that a downsizing or adjustment. We're going to maintain the flexibility and make sure that it's a fluid process that, if we don't put up 3 towers right away, we want to be in a position to add towers as, again, the market dictates to do so. We will still be, like I said, the first phase will be the entertainment tower, and then the hotel portions or towers. You mentioned a beacon. Dr. Chen's vision was obviously to create the tallest structure in Phnom Penh, where everybody could see from the sky and elsewhere the lights of Naga, much like that same effect when people fly in from Los Angeles to New York and to Las Vegas. That's still part of the dream, part of the vision. The timetable, the timeline when that China visitation and tourism, that's part of the equation of what we're looking at. It's not a question of if they'll come back. It's really more a question of when they'll come back.
Very true. I mean, non-gaming has to be a huge aspect of Naga 3. However, we can't avoid the gaming aspect. I know that there have been designs that were drawn up for the gaming floor itself. Do you think that those are going to be changing, or what can you give us in terms of the idea of what intentions there are for the casino space itself? Are there still going to be VIP junket areas? Are there still going to, how many EGMs are you looking at? How many table games are you thinking about?
At the time Naga 2 was put together, I think we were at 5,000 machines and we had 600 gaming tables. And there was a plan to add a specific number. It certainly was an estimate, even when we announced it in 2019, adding another 1,200 gaming machines and adding another 500 tables. When you look out, and we're talking about 2029, and also the fact that we're looking at an evolving situation in terms of the market, they would be just really estimates at this point. Our operations people, remember, this monopoly license here goes to 2045 within 200 kilometers of Phnom Penh. probably the longest license in the world, and probably to that extent, growing with a country as well as growing with an urban area. And we don't have limitations on the number of facilities that we could build. If you recall, Dr. Chen exercised restraint, initially one, then two. He didn't want to overwhelm the country with gaming because obviously it was a country on its way up with all kinds of challenges. That philosophy and also conservative fiscal policies drove a lot of those decisions. That won't change within Naga. So Naga 3 will have gaming, but it'll really correspond with that amount of visitation combined with the pace of the growth of Phnom Penh. And I think both the new government as well as ourselves and the industry as a whole recognize that for us to be competitive, we need to keep those competitive advantages that we have. And we are obviously in a better position than most because of that license that gives us a monopoly till 2045, and our license runs all the way out through 2065.
Well, not only the monopoly on the license, but also the percentage on the taxation rate that you have to pay. Do you anticipate that there might be any changes over that within the course of the extent of the monopoly that you have?
It was 2020 when the new commercial gaming law went into effect. The taxation rates for mass market, and we went from the fixed annual to obviously a percentage basis, 4 and 7 for the VIP and the mass. But like any government, there will be tax initiatives as the country prospers more, as greater industry comes in, and certainly I think we always recognized on the front end that the country's success was tied to our success. So we're very happy with the tax situation now. In our eyes, it keeps us competitive. We'll certainly urge the government to keep as a priority in any assessment the ability to compete within the region and keep Cambodia, at the forefront. So, but I'm also not naive to say that, there'll always be initiatives within government to raise revenue and different types of taxes.
Of course. I mean, and there's going to be a lot of changes happening. There's going to be growth within the Philippines, Vietnam, all of everything regionally. So it is going to be tough competition. There's a lot of people vying for Thailand, but I'm sure that Naga is going to be able to find their way through, especially given their experience within the Asian market. I just wanted to say thank you again for your time. Timothy McNally, Chairman of NagaCorp. Thank you for being with us.
Kelsey, it was my pleasure.